What brings up to speed, Neil, to the squad news?
Well, obviously Ryan, had the surgery. So there were multiple fractures there, eye socket, jaw, cheekbone. So he's had to have a bit of work done. I think he's come through it okay, and obviously his welfare is paramount to us. So it'd be very doubtful we'll see him between now and the end of the season. Jack Hendry, he tore his hamstring in a reserve game on Monday. So prognosis is he'll be out for the season as well. Apart from that, the rest of the squad is looking good from the weekend.
How are you feeling when you're within touching distance now?
Not really giving it much thought. We know what 2 wins will guarantee us it no matter what happens, so we're just trying to focus on that. The league's a priority now. We did a great job, the team did a great job last week, very convincing, and I'm just looking for more of the same now.
Almost the perennial weekly question. Any update you can give us
on
that might be here next season or might not be here?
No, not at the minute. I would imagine once we are defined as league champions, if and when that happens, then we'll get down to the real business of that after that.
You said at the weekend, Neil, that you'd obviously spoke to Dermot about yourself, and he said, listen, ignore the noise. Have you kind of said when you'll revisit the situation?
No, I mean, I just spoke to Dermot this afternoon, and again, it's just we're talking business as usual about the team, about the big game we've got at the weekend, and that is my job. I'm doing my job, and I'm enjoying it. Obviously, very difficult at times, but I'm relishing the challenge, and the players are responding to me, which is great, and the backroom staff have been really good. So, in terms of my future, not discussed that at all. Don't really want to until we have some sort of verification of where we are, as a team. That's the most important. The team comes first, not my future or not my job prospects or anything like that. So I'm sure we'll have something to tell you in time, but now's not the time.
Yeah, being linked today with the Fulham job, do you look at what else out there, or you're very much focused on?
No, I mean, last week it was all, there's a string of managers in for this job, and now this week I'm being touted elsewhere. So again, it's just noise, and it has no impact on me whatsoever.
The other one you've been linked with is the Scotland job. Is international management something that would interest you?
No. I like the day-to-day stuff. I think the Scotland job should be, whether you think this is antiquated or not, a Scotland man, and there's plenty of very good candidates, in line for the job. I think the decision to remove Alec was premature and seemed to be based on one result, which is scandalous from my point of view. But there are a lot of good candidates out there, and it's a prime job, I think, still.
Would you never be interested in the future, even
in
international management?
Yeah, if it's out of work, Ronnie, yeah. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But again, I think it's for older, more experienced managers, I think. And, even though I've been doing management now for 9-10 years, I still feel that, club football's where my best interests are.
And another issue, the decision to bring the Scott Brown case forward, what's the thinking behind that?
I have no idea. The club asked for it. I think, again, we talk about these tribunals. Sometimes they're done within 2 days, and then the next thing it's done within a month, so there's an inconsistency there over the timing of it. I think the club wanted it brought forward, so, if there is going to be any retrospective punishment, that we get it over and done with as soon as possible.
Doesn't really matter to you when this case is heard? No,
because I think he'll be found not guilty of any wrongdoing anyway.
Neil, did I pick you up right there? Did you say it should be a Scotsman that manages?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
I just think it's the national job. It's a national game here. I think what it would mean to a Scotsman to manage his country, I'll put myself in those shoes. If I was managing my own country, it would mean everything to them. Now whether that deems to be, I think the public might want the best man for the job, and it might be out with a Scottish guy, but for me personally, I think the best man for the Scotland job would be Scottish. That's just my own crappy opinion,
How attractive do you think the job is? You work with a large chunk of the Scotland squad here, but how attractive do you think it is in the press?
Well, to be the first man to take Scotland to a major tournament since 1998, it's got to be a huge incentive for anyone. And I think the players there's a talented pool of players there who are capable of doing that. So I think, and not only that, it's a prestigious job. You know, I think in the modern game, respect for the managerial position, whether it be club or country, is diminishing, and that saddens me. But it's still, you know, a very prestigious job in my view, and one that I'm sure a lot of people would love.
There's been so many suggesting that we don't have the players in the team at the moment, but given how many Celtic players are in the Scotland team, what are your thoughts on that? That people saying the players just aren't good enough?
Well, that's just an opinion, isn't it? You know, it has to be based on fact. And again, we go back to the Kazakhstan game where, all right, really bad day, but they've beat San Marino. Whether people think it's unconvincing or not, they won the game. And they're back in, they're capable of eating Cyprus, of course they are. Capable of getting points off Russia, of course they are. And then that sets the whole thing up again. I think there's just too much knee-jerk reaction to one performance and one result. Andy Robertson is one of the best fullbacks in Europe, Scottish. You know, you got Ryan Fraser, who's ripping it up in the Premier League, Scottish. And there's a plethora of talented players playing in England, as up here, whether it be at Celtic or elsewhere.
There was comments yesterday, Neil, from Pat Evan, who said that by dealing with the dismissal of Ellis McLeish so prematurely, it would potentially put off top-level managers from going for it. Is that something that you would agree with?
Possibly, yeah. I didn't think, again, talking in hindsight, but at the time I didn't think getting rid of Gordon was the right decision at the time, because he was making progress with the team. They were unbeaten in 7 or 8 qualifying games, and for me that was huge progress going forward. There's a style of play, there was an identity. And then Eck was trying to get his own style of play and identity into the team, and it's been taken away from him. So he couldn't win. He did his job in terms of qualifying for the playoffs. That was one objective done. And what is he 2 games into the group and he's gone already? So for me it's very premature.
What do you make of this game at the weekend, Neil? You're the only man to beat a Paul Hickingbottom Hibs.
Looking forward to it, although Hibs are in great form, and obviously buoyed by a deserved win at Tynecastle, and they deserved that for, it's been coming for quite a while, so delighted for the Hibs public. But obviously we're coming here knowing what our motivation and incentives are, and that's to, you know, try and win well off the back of a very convincing semi-final performance last week. So psychologically the boys are in a good place at the minute, and we just have to maintain that now.
I think looking at the form table, you're both on 20 points from the last so many games.
I think that would be expected though from Celtic, but for Paul to come in and do what he's done has been tremendous.
Do you feel that it seems as if he's getting a lot of credit for what he's done, but do you feel that I know you said it's expected at Celtic, but you're now getting the best out of your team?
It takes time, you know, and it took time for me to get to know the players and vice versa. Starting to see, you know, signs of the improvement and the freedom and the way I want them to play. So, like I say, it was a pressure game last Sunday, and the players negotiated brilliantly. So I'm just looking for more of the same come this Sunday.
Are you able to enjoy it?
I'm enjoying it a little bit more now, yeah. I didn't, you know, the first few weeks were tumultuous and obviously very high pressured, and you're under a lot of scrutiny and you're getting judged for everything that you do basically. So, but I'm older and a bit more experienced in dealing with that. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more now.
Yeah, I appreciate you can only keep your own house in order, but can I get your response to what Dave King said during the week, that Rangers are within tangible reach of becoming the dominant force in Scottish football?
Well, it's not for me to say. You know, I would think other people can give their opinion on that. I can only speak on behalf of Celtic, and you know, since 2000, you know, I think our record domestically has been pretty good, because we've got good recruitment, we've got good people, we've got good board, class board, who keep the powder dry, and we don't talk ourselves up, we just try and maintain the standards that we've kept over the last 20 years or so.
How important do you think that is then for a manager? You've just said how you operate at a top level a certain way. How important is that for a manager when he has that sort of support?
That's fantastic. You know, I work, and I have worked previously in my last spell with high class people, quality people, whether it be business or in football, so I've been very fortunate to have that experience as well, and they give you great advice if and when it's needed.
Yeah. On the flip side, if those comments had come from a chairman to you, if you hadn't won the league for 8 seasons, would that?
Well, I mean, how would you feel? You know, again, I'm not going to comment on that. I'll leave that out there for other people to decide on it, Roman.
You mentioned some of the noise that surrounds the football. Over the past few seasons, the Celtic line-up's been leaking, maybe a couple of days in advance. When you were manager of Hibs, did you pay attention to that at all? Did that make
Was never aware of it as manager, but I'm aware that the team does get leaked, and I'm really not happy about it. So someone is letting us down.
The other thing I was going to ask you was Ajax qualified for the semi-final of the Champions League. It was just 3 years ago we had played against them in the Europa League. What do you think that we at Celtic here could do to replicate some of the things that Ajax have done?
Very good question. I mean, it's you know, Ajax have pedigree in the competition. They've had a bit of a lull. To be fair to them, they have spent a bit of money this summer. You know, they brought in Blind and Tadic for, you know, around about 30 million. And obviously they've got high calibre, you know, developed players from their own academy. And obviously that's something that we can look at, but we have to just focus on how we want to go about it. It's a different environment, different circumstances. Ajax have had this reputation. You know, that academy doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's built over 20, 30, 40 years. So you could say a work in progress when it comes to that level of football, but we've got to be delighted with the likes of Forrest, McGregor, Tierney coming through our academy in the last 10 years.
In terms of the team leaks, Neil, have you spoke to the squad about that?
No, I'm not convinced it's coming from a player, you know.
Would you change the timing of your team selection then?
I'd like to, yeah, but I mean, it's what the players are used to, so again, I'm going back to that, not wanting to change too much too soon.
Something you consider next season,
if I'm here.
Neil, go back to the Champions League. I don't know how much you're aware about the discussions to perhaps revamp the Champions League. One of the things being considered is 4 groups of 8 teams, and potentially one of the 8 could be a team that's got a great history in the competition, for Celtic as previous champions could get straight in. What for you would be the ideal setup for a revamped Champions League with regard to Scottish teams?
Just you know, a fairer opportunity to qualify. You know, I think it's getting harder and harder. The timing of the qualifiers is so difficult for us. You know, it's the first games you play almost straight away, and we've gone from my time from 3 qualifiers to 4 qualifiers. So you're playing basically 8 games, the most important games of your season at the start of the season, and that's a quarter of a season basically in terms of, you know, 8 games to qualify. So I think the qualifying route could be a little bit more fair to certainly Scottish teams, that's for sure. As regards the revamp, if it comes, then we have to make sure over the next 3 or 4 years we are building to be prepared for that.
And just one final point on going back to Scotland stuff. You're saying it should be a Scotsman. Steve Clarke said he wants to manage Scotland one day, doesn't know if it's now. Is he the sort of calibre we should be looking at?
Absolutely, he's an outstanding candidate. I don't think the Kilmarnock fans will thank me for that, and the Aberdeen fans won't thank me for saying that Derek McInnes is an outstanding candidate as well. There's 2 very good guys in the SFA building already who would be very good candidates, and there are other names out there, David Moyes, Alec Neil, you know, Paul Lambert, you know, quality managers who could hopefully take the reins on.